Let's see if he's in. Here he is. How are you
How
doing?
do we do?
Good, good.
Very good,
So,
very good,
Tag,
guys.
that touchdown treble it's got a bit of work to do, hasn't it?
It's been a very, very bad night so far. Very bad night.
It's still early though. It's still time to turn it around.
Well, yeah, you found it in your fantasy matchups. It seems to be a bit dry first half, and obviously second half as the defenses get tired. The points seem to come a bit more. So I'm hoping that starts to happen. But also on top of that, Denver Broncos are having another shocker. So it's been a doubly bad night.
It's not been a great season, has it? Not been great watching.
No.
So just because a lot of our fans are rugby league fans, so we'll just obviously you're back in pre-season now, new coach and things. So how's that going?
Yeah, going it's going really good. It's been a real good sort of refresh. We've moved training facilities for the first time in 8 years. We've brought in a new head physio, new head conditioner, new head coach, and a new assistant coach. So obviously it's been very similar for 8 years for me at LFC, and obviously then bringing in Tony and his staff and moving training facilities. It's been a real good fresh start, I'd say, and it's obviously good for the man, good for the head. But then obviously you've had Tony come in with lots of experience, lots of ideas, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. We've done 3 full weeks now together, and it's we're gelling and we're learning what Tony wants us to do. But I feel like I'm building a really good relationship with him already.
Really good to hear, and I think we've got you in a friendly, have we? Or there's talk of it.
Yes, we have. I think we've got you, mate. Yeah, so
That'd be nice to see you.
yeah, it'll be like Aaron Donald going head to head with Cup, won't
Yeah. Well, last year, let's not talk about this year.
it?
But no, obviously you're a big Broncos fan, Tag. But just talk us through how you got involved in the NFL and how that sort of started.
Started when I was probably about 12, 13, and my dad had a bit of a crush on Dan Marino back in the day. My dad was a bit of a Miami Dolphins fan, and obviously I lived with my dad at that age, and so it was just me and my dad living together. And whenever NFL was on the telly, my dad would bang it on and love watching it. And obviously from that, I started getting interested in it and following it, and then obviously as you get older, your mates start watching it. It just took on from there. I'd say I wasn't like a massive fan the first few years, but sort of just fell in love. And I started playing it on PlayStation with my cousin, and Denver Broncos always end up being a good team to be on the PlayStation. So I picked them, stuck with them, and then I had an obsession with Peyton Manning. And then he ended up coming across to Denver just to secure it even more. So yeah, just got right into it. I feel like year on year I've got more and more into it, and was always excited to try and get into an NFL fantasy league, what was taken serious. And when I got the opportunity about 5 years ago to join, obviously the one we're in now together, Bish, it's made it even more enjoyable because when I go to training every day, there ain't many lads who know NFL. It's pretty disappointing. So to have them groups and be able to chat and have stuff in common with you boys, it's been really good.
And in that NFL group, speaking former champion to former champion, we're in a bit of an
Yeah.
elite group there, aren't we?
That's it. Obviously, I slotted in. I think your championship was before I turned up, so uh, you're still on that trophy, mate. Aren't you engraved on the old
That's
cup?
it.
But
The name's there.
the name's there, mate. Yeah. So yeah, no, I come in and God, it was I went in 2020 in COVID year, and that was one of the things that got me through COVID, the fantasy league and the NFL and NFL Sundays and the streams we've had going. But yeah, winning that was always good to do. Beating old Gramps in the final was very good feeling, and it's always good to have that ammo now. And the lads who haven't won it yet, you can always just tell them to pipe down straight away in the group if they start giving it big
That's
uns.
it. And you got yourself your own T-shirt as well, I believe.
Own t-shirt, championship winning t-shirt, and now it's been framed for the office. With the I had 4 players who started and finished that full season with me when I won the championship. It was Lamar Jackson, Stephon Diggs, Derrick Henry, and Gronkowski. So them four are placked in the frame as well. The four lads who was there start to finish with a win. So no, it was good to win my first ever fantasy league, and something what I'll cherish definitely.
You're going well this year, aren't you, as well? In the dynasty one.
Yeah, so obviously we've got the dynasty, haven't we? And we've got the normal one. The normal one, what yourself and I won. I was really struggling, but I've won 3 weeks in a row, and I think I'm 5-6, and the division winner at the minute is 6-5, and they've got a tough matchup this week, so I might be able to go joint top and claw it back. But yeah, the dynasty's the big one. Obviously, second year of the dynasty, and I want to be the first. As I tried getting Debo Samuel off you during the week, and you weren't having any of it. Obviously, I want to try and be the first lad in the group to win both titles.
Nice. And as we switch back to real life, just the Denver Broncos, just what do you think's happening this year? Obviously, Russia's come in, but the defense looks great. And we've talked on the show the stats, only allowing 17 points a game, but the offense not really doing it. What's your thoughts on that?
To be honest, I'd put it down to, I think obviously you go big, pay 280 million, 7 years, and give it to Dangerous and get him in, and obviously everything he's doing in the game, and you mix him his fair share in with who wants to make an impact in with a fair share head coach who's never been head coach before. I just feel like there's a bit of confusion there, and I just feel like obviously Russell have a lot of ideas what he thinks will work, but you've got a guy who's maybe a bit confused and being took off the play calling, and it just all seems a bit of a mess, to be honest. And obviously Big John Elway sat above it all, looking down on, and it has to work. I mean, if it don't work, it's going to be it's going to be a big effort to sort of change that. But the easy option is obviously just change the coach. And I think for me, the team we've got this year, we should be competing. We should be up there, not be sat at 3-7 and losing at half time against Carolina Panthers again and doing what we're doing. So I'd be very shocked if we haven't got a new head coach come next season. Personally, obviously they've took a punt. But the guy we signed was before we got Wilson. Nathaniel Hackett was known to be best mates of Aaron Rodgers, and we was obviously a massive push to try and get Aaron Rodgers. So we've got the Green Bay guy who's best mates of Aaron Rodgers to get Rodgers, and then Rodgers does the U-turn, re-signs, and we take Wilson. So it's a bit of a mess, I think. So our defense is brilliant, and we've got some real good youth in our offense. But yeah, I just think it's just not happening. Obviously, Wilson's getting a lot of questions asked, and the head coach in a bit of a mess. So I think we'll just class this year as a write-off. I'd say I want us to do worse now the rest of the year to get a good pick, but we traded our picks away, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm similar. Sat with the Rams, and every loss we get, the Lions are just rubbing their hands. Yeah.
Obviously, in the group as well, we've got a big Seahawks fan, and we hear nothing but Rob all the time about that. So I would love us to win a few more games just to make sure that they'll get an higher pick as what he wants. Because obviously, Seahawks are in still. The Seahawks have done brilliant this well. I think this year, they've been one of the biggest shocks of the year. But obviously, they're still in a bit of a rebuild as well. So they obviously want that pick nice and early, which I hope we don't give them.
And we're at week 12 now, so we're getting towards the business end of the year. Who do you think's looking good? And we'll try and get Tag's take on a Super Bowl winner. Who are you putting on at the top of the tree?
For start of the year went Bills like a lot of people. I can see now a rematch of a few years. Chiefs and 49ers. I think the Chiefs are firing again all cylinders. I think the sort of thing what Patrick Mahomes is doing and what he did against Chargers the other night, when Chargers had all their starting team back, and to get the ball back with, was it about 50 seconds to go, a minute to go, and then lead that drive and do what he does. But I really like the 49ers this year. The defense is strong. The addition to C-Mac, if he stays fit, and all the other weapons, and Jimmy G in his last year of his deal as a backup coming into this year, and the story that'd be, and get his second chance to do it. So Yeah, I think I'd go for a Chiefs Niners Super Bowl, and at the minute, I'll go for the Niners to win it. To surprise, and I'll go for the 49ers win at the minute as it stands.
Nice, I like it. Joey, come in.
Yes, Tag. We'll go
Hey,
back.
mate.
Have you got Red Zone live on now?
Got Red Zone live on now. Just seeing the repeat of the hasty touchdown. I think is it as we speak now.
Yeah.
With the injury to Etienne. But yeah, I've got Red Zone on now, and I'm looking at my 3 picks, and they all look like they couldn't be further away at the minute. Absolutely shocker.
Yeah, you're struggling a bit, Tag, to be honest. I think the big shock is Mark Andrews and Lamar struggling a lot in this game. What's your thoughts on Lamar in later season in the past couple of years?
Yeah, he's obviously got the MVP, didn't he? But when it's come to these big games, he just hasn't delivered. He's absolute unbelievable talent. I just think he's always going to have the throwing arm questioned. I think he's a bit hit and miss at times, isn't he? And obviously he relies on Andrews massively. He's his get out of jail card. But yeah, I just don't know with Lamar. Obviously he's gonna be wanting that big payday, and he's backed himself. And I just don't know if he has got the arm talent to back it up. He's a bit like, obviously better, but Kyler Murray, who's got the big question marks around him, get the big deal, can run with the ball, can he throw it and look after the ball as well?
I think your Tyreek Hill is your other one, isn't it? I think he's going to really struggle since they're 30-0 up, I believe, as well. Don't want to rub it in, Scott, but yeah, I think you're struggling a bit for this week.
Well, Tyreek, if you saw him, he ran the outline on the goal line and Tua threw it, but a bit too right for him, and he would have been in. So that's been my closest. That's what I'm clutching on to.
Has it? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, that was a few play. That was obviously a few minutes back, but that's my biggest clutch I've had at the minute is the fact that I've had one guy at the red zone targets, but we'll just have to wait and see. Tyreek, yeah, that's the issue. If they keep winning like they are against the Texans, you'd feel like he'll probably get put on ice and rest up as the main man. But Mark Andrews, obviously, he's going to be in the game to the end with Ravens, as it looks like at the minute. And Mike Evans, you know what Brady's like to Evans, he'll find him potentially at some point.
And if you're looking at our bets, Scott, we both went with Jeff Wilson over 80 rushing yards in the Miami game. I think that's looking incredibly bad at this point.
I say I seen he got a touchdown, didn't he, early on, but it was a bit of a walk-in, wasn't it, from quite close?
Yeah. I think he's on 10 yards for the game, and 3 of them was on those touchdowns. So I think that sums up where we're at the moment.
They're actually using Tyreek in the backfield as well, so that's not helping us.
Well, you'd like
to
think
it's not looking good for all of us for this week. Tampa Bay, Bish had on the minus 3.5, so that looking okay. We've got Michael Carter's. Any news on his receptions?
We were on 1, so we'll just have to have a look after this.
And then my 2 are Washington minus 4. I think, as you were speaking, Tyler Heineke threw his second interception of the game.
They're punting now, Falcons, aren't they? 10-all.
10-all now, yeah.
And then I had the Jeff Wilson, Chris Godwin. Let me give you an update on that. Have we nailed 1? Still on 6 at the moment, so we need 1 to at least. Someone needs to have 1 winning bet at the moment, Bish, and I'm hoping it's me first, to be honest, selfishly.
He was cheering for a DeMarcus Robinson touchdown over Mark Andrews. That's how bad it is. He's worried about his own bets.
When you changed your bet and followed Bishop on the Jeff Wilson, what was you originally going with?
That I think as we were watching it, Raheem Mostert popped up on my fantasy saying he's doubtful for the game. So I think I would just all in. Who were they playing again off the top of my head? The
Texans.
The Texans. The Texans' rush defense, I think, was absolutely terrible. Like I said, I keep saying how the wide receiving defense against them meant to be good. But that's just because they can't defend the rush at all. And I thought, well, that means Jeff Wilson's just going to get 110 yards. So I put my hand up. I've obviously got this one wrong.
There's still time.
I was watching it thinking, thank God I didn't do Derrick Henry anytime because you'd be fuming with that fumble over the
What
line,
about
wouldn't
that?
you? That would have
How
been the
unlucky
look
is
of
that
the
defender?
year. I know. And then
The,
obviously the young wide receiver dives on the ball.
I think I just saw on Twitter actually as you were speaking, a lot of people were tweeting. I had Derrick Henry first touchdown of the game, so I think there's about a bunch of people that are feeling sick right now after that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty much a guarantee at that point. But no, it's. What are your thoughts on today's games then, Scott? What did you have? Is there any other bets you had going on or currently have going on?
No, nothing. It was all about cheering on the Broncos and it's obviously following the treble I give you guys. But obviously, as you know, you end up being so deep in the fantasy league and keeping up to date. So I had a big decision going into whether I went with Piran or Pierce, and I've done the right option. I took Piran. I took Piran off waivers, hoping that obviously Mixon would be out one of a week, and he has been. So I should have probably took Piran in me any time because obviously he's gone over. But so Piran over Pierce has been my big good choice so far. I think I traded Foreman to Bish during the week, and obviously he looked like he was doing all right against the Broncos and was topping up some yards. So I'm just hoping I don't regret trading him away.
My decision were Foreman or Gibson, and I think I've gone with Antonio Gibson. So that's backfired, I think.
I've also got P Ryan on my fantasy team. He's on 14.4 currently, so I think we're doing well. I think we're doing very well.
We love to see it.
Jermichael Hasty here is absolutely running all over the Baltimore Ravens. I can't really believe what I'm watching.
You like to think that Travis Etienne hadn't done the same foot as Franks as what put him out for the full season last year. It'd be very unlucky that and poor after he was having a massive year for him.
Yeah, we actually missed that, didn't we?
Yeah.
We saw a big run and had a look expecting it to be Etienne, and it were Hasty. So yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Well, to be fair to Hasty right now, he might be playing himself into another contract because I think they've got Darrell Henderson in. I think he was meant to replace Hasty because he's been having such a bad season so far. But if you're judging it on, Tom Brady, who's this to? Oh, it's
Mike
not.
Evans.
Oh, I thought we had it. I thought we had our first winning bet of the day. But no, yeah. So I think Hasty is doing well and probably going to win himself another contract at another team for this year now.
We're back.
Is that too much to say based on one game? It might be a bit hasty.
Hey. Well, they traded Robinson, didn't they?
Yeah, and what about that one? It was a healthy scratch today for the Jets.
Oh my word!
That's an interesting one.
I like him as well. I do like him.
Yeah, he was just unlucky, wasn't he? Obviously, they drafted it at the end, but he did his Achilles. He got his trade. I think he had a decent game and then picked up an injury, and now he seems to just be on the out again.
Yeah.
He won fantasy. Oh, sorry, Scott. Go on.
No, I was just saying we end up doing the trade with Miami, taking Chase Edmonds, and I call him Noel Edmonds because of what he's done so far. But he's just been injured since we've took him in, and obviously we've lost Javonte Williams for the season, and we've let Melvin Gordon go, and the rumours are it's because he was after the game blasting out songs of Sierra's ex, so Russell Wilson wanted rid of. Have you seen that in Denver on the radio?
I read it, but I presumed it was a joke. If that's true, that's mind-blowing.
I thought it was just the fumbles.
Well, it's obviously the fumbles, I'm guessing, is the real reason, but there's some very good people coming out of the locker room saying that after the defeat, he was blasting out tunes of Sierra's ex, which she's got a kid, so I can't remember his name, the rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've just won our first bet, lads. We've just won our first bet. Chris Godwin, 7 receptions. I had over 6.5. I think he's just got another reception there, lads.
Well done, Joe.
But yeah, no, I'll take the claim for this week.
And I dropped Chris Godwin in my Dynasty League fantasy team onto my bench, so that's a shocker by myself as well.
What was your thought behind that then, Scott?
I've got you. I can start 2. I've got Goodwin, Amari Cooper, and Hopkins. So I've gone with Cooper and Hopkins. Just thinking Amari Cooper had the game he had last week and seems to be the main target, and obviously Godwin's sharing a lot of the load in Tampa at the minute. Oh,
Bish. Seen a Tampa Bay touchdown as well, so that's nice for me. The Buccaneers -3.5, so they're back up.
Come on, Bish.
Foreman, all we keep seeing is Foreman highlights.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? A-Tag then? The Broncos game.
I think put a fork in us, mate. I think we're done. I think we're still eating Thanksgiving dinner. We ain't got out the table, have we? We haven't done anything.
The turkey's still in the stomach.
100%. Well, it was with my main man, my favourite player, PS2, and being touched all year, and then he got torched for the losing touchdown last week, and then DJ Moore's just done the same to him again in that first quarter. Just bent him on the sweep. So
PS2 for viewers is Pat Surtain, I believe. Yeah, I've not got that one wrong, have I? Pat Surtain is one of the reasons why Denver Broncos defense have been so highly rated, why they've only let 17 points per game on this year. So, but last couple of weeks he's been done twice essentially. So,
I think it's the first time he's been torched in his 2-year career. Well, his second, obviously it's his second season, and he's been touted as probably one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the league, and they don't tend to throw to him. But arguably for me, Devontae Adams is still number 1 wide receiver in the game, and he showed that last week.
We've just had a question from my dad, actually, Scott. Have you been to any games before? Give us a bit of insight. I think you've been to a couple, haven't you?
Yeah, I tried to do London every year. I did London with Bish last year, and I also I saw Tampa Bay at the Raymond James Stadiums in Florida live as well. So, your boy's gone down injured.
Yeah, I know. For viewers watching, Jeff Wilson has just been taken off, and he's here.
Down the tunnel.
Yeah, he's walking down the tunnel there, and the 30-0 up. So I can't imagine he'll be back involved in this game, which is not great for mine and Joe's bets. Yeah, we had a good do at the NFL, didn't we? I think that's the first time I've been to Tottenham, and it's really good stadium. Didn't look to be a bad seat in the house, really. The atmosphere was really good. A lot different to Wembley. So what do you, in terms of atmosphere and watching, do you have a preference of Wembley or Tottenham?
Yeah, for me, Spurs' ground wins it for me all day long now. The stadium's just unbelievable. The atmosphere, obviously Wembley has the perks of before the game. Obviously they have a bit more on, but I just found the full atmosphere in the build-up, and obviously after the game, they've got quite a few bars around the stadium and live music on, and you can sort of carry on the party, and it's just a real good atmosphere. Everyone there for the American football, and I just love that stadium. I don't know what it is about that stadium. I know they've spent a lot of money on it, so it should have that impact on you. But it's the atmosphere, and just to be able to get a pint what fills up from the bottom to the top is just impressive. But no, I really enjoyed the Spurs' ground. I always try and get there every year, obviously, but this year I had the first baby born around it all, so it couldn't happen this year, but looking forward to going again next year.
Not to make things worse, Scott, but I think I've just seen Sam Darnold get a touchdown. Is it Dotson? No. Oh, sorry. So quickly, Washington just got a touchdown. John Bates Tyler Heineke's not thrown an interception finally, and he's got himself a touchdown. And before that, Sam Darnold, the quarterback for Carolina versus Scott's Denver, run it in for a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, not good. But it's so basic. So that the Washington would be good for your bet though. What did you say? You've took a minus 3.5.
I got that, but then I chucked it on a double for Jahan Dotson to get a touchdown as well, and that's why I was screaming Dotson there, because I need him to get a touchdown, really, don't I?
Yeah,
Joe likes to
extra point.
Go with.
I go risky, yeah. I go risky, yeah. I go. I don't like my bad odd bets. I go for it. I go for broke. So for viewers watching, probably don't listen to me. But if you like a bit of excitement in your day, I'm your man.
Is another injury?
Just NFL playing wise, what position do you see yourself as?
What position would I class myself?
Yeah, where would you want to play?
I'd 100% have to be a tight end, I think. Obviously, about 6'4". I remember when we played, I was fortunate to play for England against the Kiwis at Mile High Stadium. I actually played in the stadium of the team. I've not seen my team play live, Denver Broncos, but I've played in the stadium, believe it.
Wow, that's good.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
and I
from
remember
your side, Scott, I think tight end, maybe a blocking tight end.
Yeah, that's it. I said I'd be
doing him a disservice.
I don't know how good are your hands, Scott. I don't know. Would you consider yourself a Travis Kelce type or more of a George Kittle?
Oh, Kelce all day.
He's the receiving tight end. I like it. Yeah,
all day.
Can't see yourself along that line getting all the blocks and putting some people on their arse.
I'd love to have a chance to do it. Like I say, I love it, and I think I would be a tight end. I don't think I could play anywhere else, to be honest, because of my height and my size. I think I'd struggle anywhere on the defense. I don't think I'd have the speed off the line. I mean, you see the new outside linebackers now, like Parsons, and how effective they are. They're a lot smaller and quicker now, aren't they, getting on the outside, and they're just unbelievable athletes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of sports, you're seeing a lot of change, aren't you? I think even if you got rugby league now, the fullback, the winger, the centres, it's all about yardage. They're becoming more like, well, they always were, but they're getting taller and taller, aren't they now? And it's all about how much you can run. Basketball, it's all about the 3-point. I think NFL's changing a bit, so the defence is all a bit smaller. Traditionally, they'd be like they'd be like Myles Garrett at Cleveland, wouldn't they? Where they're 6'4", 280 kg, not kg, pounds and
pounds.
kg would be,
that would be a big.
That'd be a big man.
That would be a big man.
But yeah, they're not. Yeah, so I think they're changing. Micah Parsons absolutely. He might change the spot. He might be one of those players that revolutionised the position, because what he's done in his first 2 seasons, for people who don't know, been at Dallas Cowboys. He can play multiple positions along, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, and he's even been an edge rusher at some points, hasn't he, as well?
Yeah, he's been playing defensive end.
Yeah.
It's crazy what he's been doing.
Reminds me now, the way he's playing at the minute now, it reminds me of Von Miller in his prime. Obviously, Von's was a bit unique and a bit smaller and quicker as well. Really reminds me of him, who was always one of my favourite ever players, and obviously got the MVP in Super Bowl 50.
At your famous, for your famous Denver Broncos, he was a brilliant player. He's now at the
He's now at the Bills.
Yeah,
obviously
just
won the
got an
Super Bowl
injury,
last year
didn't he?
with the Rams as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
winner of one of them men, and he just an out and out winner.
Yeah, I was going to say, have they released how bad his injury was? Because I saw him obviously go off on the car the other night on their Thanksgiving for the Bills.
Oh, yeah, it was Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so I think they've come out and said it's not a season-ending injury. I think it were better than they thought, but I think he'll be out for a couple of weeks from the last report I saw.
Yeah, I think he's going to be massively key. I think he was having an unbelievable year. People were laughing when they signed him. I think they gave him like a 4 or 5 year deal, didn't they, at his age, and signed him. obviously just to work around the cap. But he doesn't need the reps up now. But when he's in the game, you can just see the difference.
Yeah, it's that experience, isn't it? He just commands his presence, just keeps those offensive linemen looking at him.
Oh, Bish, who's this? This is running back.
That's the Barrios, isn't it?
Brixton
The quick
Barrios.
guy.
Why
for
is
the
he
Jets.
running the ball?
Just what do you think about Odell Beckham? Tag, where do you think he'll end up? Obviously, there's big talk of Giants or Cowboys. If he ends up at the Cowboys, can you see them doing any damage in the playoffs?
Oh, I think the Cowboys are right up there, and obviously saw it the other night. I've still got a bit of a question mark on Dak Prescott personally. I just don't.
Controversial, that, Scott.
Yeah, I just don't fully trust him. I just haven't seen him. I need to see him do it in a couple of big games. And don't get me wrong, since he's come back from injury, he's been absolutely outstanding. But he's playing behind some defense now. What they've got there, I think the thing is with Odell Beckham is that he'll want to win again, won't he? You've just had the taste of the Super Bowl win with yourselves at Rams, and he'll want to win again. But there's a lot of mouths to feed in at Dallas at the minute. They've got two unbelievable running backs, so everyone's arguing who should be RB1. They've got Gallup coming back looking great. CD Lamb's there. They've got about 4 tight ends on the field every time they're near the goal line. So I suppose if they're all in, aren't they? If they go for Odell Beckham and sign for this year, they're all in on trying to do it this year, which is fair play to him because old Jerry Jones, he can't keep seeing them fall short again, can he? He hasn't won it for a while now, and he's getting older and older. Bless him.
Yeah. I just think that he's part of the problem. Is that tinkering? Like you're saying, he's hands on. But we spoke about this last week, didn't we? About Zeke and Pollard, and I like how it works. The 1-2 punch. You can see Pollard is so explosive. He probably should be the RB1 with a bit of Zeke sprinkled in. I know Zeke had a knee injury last year, and he's come back. He hasn't been great, but I think that Thanksgiving game he looked really good. He looked sharp. Few really nice touches. So they bounce off one each other really well. Like you said.
Yeah, I do like that. I do agree with that, and especially near the line, Pollard doesn't have that weight really behind him, does he? On them 3rd and 1s on the goal line, he's big Zeke. You've got to feed him the ball there. But yeah, I think if you've got to go an RB1, going into next season, I don't know. You don't have Pollard written down as your main man because he's that good and that explosive and he's game changing. Obviously, Zeke has still got it, but he just hasn't got that turn of speed anymore.
Yeah, we've just seen Mike White dial up another touchdown there for the Jets as well. So he's come in, Mike White, and he looks like he's really reveling in it. Really,
I took Jets on the handicap, but then I also had Mike White having an interception just to up my odds because I thought it was a guarantee. I think I've done it again, Bish.
One too many.
One too many.
A little bit greedy.
Yeah, always with me. Yeah, every week I've got the same story. I've nailed part of the bet and then I screw up the easy. I chuck in something that I think's easy, and that's the one that never comes off.
I'm looking at that touchdown treble. We've not really seen any highlights, have we? I think obviously Ravens game is a bit behind because of the lightning, so that I think they'll be at the half. But we've not seen anything else from the Dolphins, and we've not seen Evans at all, really, have we? So,
no. I think it'd be tough for Tyreek to get. Oh, sorry, go on, Scott.
No, you go, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think it's going to be really tough for Tyreek to get a touchdown at this point, and it 30-0 up. We've been saying how they're going to run the ball. They didn't. Now they're 30-0 up, so you've got to presume they're just going to run it out and take it easy, really.
That's it. Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's going to be quite good as well that I think there's four late kickoffs for Red Zone today as well, rather than the 3, so a bit more action this week.
I think there's going to be a lot of Chiefs action in that Rams game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a fun one to watch. There's no Cooper Kupp, there's no Matthew Stafford, and no Allen Robinson. It's
Come on, Bish. You've said Kyron Williams is your man. Come on, gamble that he just runs the Chiefs down to the ground. She one chance. She one chance.
Just as on the screen now, he is Joe Burrow. He is the one quarterback I do believe in. I think he's destined to have a unbelievable career. I know he got to the Super Bowl last year, so it's easy to say that now, but he's just so composed, isn't he?
One thing that I like about is obviously for those we're into sports cards, so there's a few of us who collect sports cards, and I've liked Burrow probably since coming out, as I said, for Dynasty. I've sort of put all my chips behind Burrow, but you've been also a big Justin Herbert fan. How do you think he's getting on, and what do you think of the Chargers?
I think Justin Herbert is going to be a generational talent like Joe Burrow as well. I think he's so good, so composed, got an unbelievable arm on him. He's actually, I think, going into that Chiefs game or halfway through the Chiefs game, he'd only actually had his wide receiver 1 and 2 for 40 snaps this season, and he still was going in with a winning record. He's had no Mike Williams and no Keenan Allen all year. He's been doing it with backups of Palmer, Carter, and his tight end Everett, and he's still been finding ways to win and still chucking out 200-300 yard passing games. And I think soon as Herbert has a fit wide receiver core around him, you'll see him just go to another level. Obviously, I feel like if you put Herbert in the Bengals team with, obviously I know Jamar Chase injured at the minute, but then they've got Hurst, Teagans, Boyd. It's just unbelievable the mouths he's got there. So no, I do think it's going to be a generational. I think you'll look back in a few years at that 2020 draft of Tua, Burrow, and Herbert and think, wow, that was some draft class that year.
Well, we're missing one out, lads, from this conversation, and I thought you were going to put him on this. I thought you were going to put Herbert on this team, the Miami Dolphins, and Tua Tagovailoa. What's your thoughts on him? Obviously, he's got the backup now with Tyreek, Waddle. What's your thoughts? Because I think he could secretly be the one. He's steady, but I like a bit of steadiness in my quarterback.
I like Tua. I think obviously, he's got the highest rating as a quarterback this year in the league, hasn't he? But he's got a bit of stability now. They've given him some weapons, and they've got an head coach. I mean, Mike McDaniels looks an absolute genius, doesn't he? I mean, his press conferences and the way he comes across and the way he talks and the trust and faith is. And from day dot, he walked in the door and he said, "Tua's my man." He's really put a lot of confidence in him, and then give him the weapons, and you're seeing the results of it. So yeah, that 2020 draft class is scary good, and it's going to just keep looking better and better. I think the one draft class what's struggling is after that is obviously I know Justin Fields has come out lately, but the one after that with Matt Jones and them boys, that they all seem to be not getting away like the 2020 boys at the minute.
Yeah, your Mac Jones, you've got your Trevor Lawrence in there as well, haven't you? And obviously Zach Wilson with his benching. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And just going back to the 2020 class, one that's probably not spoke about, but spent high draft capital on getting him in Jordan Love. And we've seen Aaron Rodgers' situation. Do we think Jordan Love may ever get a chance at Green Bay?
I think he's got to, hasn't he? But it's just, I mean, how many he's going to sit there for when Rodgers I mean, I felt sorry for him as well because he got given. Rodgers missed one game, and it was at Arrowhead against the Chiefs last year. All the best, mate, in your first start. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one, but I do feel like, I mean, as a starting QB like Jordan Love potentially is, can you afford to sit out 5-6 years of your career at such a pivotal time? I mean, if
I've got one for you, lads. I think if you look at so Green Bay Packers is owned by the fans. It's I think it is the only club in the NFL that's owned by the fans, and it's very consistent year on year. They have the same philosophy, the same sort of things throughout the last 30 years. Obviously, they won it 3 or 4 years. So if you look at the current quarterback, Aaron Rodgers sat out for 3 years before he got drafted. He had Brett Favre before him. Brett Favre, the original gunslinger. Aaron Rodgers struggled to get in, got in, took over the job, and I think Brett Favre before him had a year or two of learning the game. So I think if I'm giving Jordan Love a bit of support, I think that's the way the Packers like to do things. They like to give him a 2 or 3 years to understand the game, not chuck him in like some of them and then wash him out after the year when he could be a brilliant quarterback. Give him time to learn, and hopefully in a year or two, once Rodgers retires, I've got Jordan Love to be one of the best QBs in the league.
Yeah.
There you go, lads. There you go.
Oh,
that's interesting. Because if you look at the team around him, he's going to need some help, isn't he?
Yeah. But they've got Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, 2 rookie wide receivers. They've got AJ Dillon, who's not too old yet, got drafted 2 or 3 years ago. I think they've got the things in place now for once Rodgers leaves, Jordan's could have a brilliant.
See, I just see that division, and at the minute, it's heavily Vikings. Well, Packers have dropped off a little bit, but I think switch that around next season. We've got the Bears, what they're doing with Fields. They've got a lot of cap next year. You've got the Lions, who are a young team. Maybe I'd argue a quarterback away from being a very good team. And you've got the Vikings, where Kirk Cousins, Torquay, they might get rid of him for cap. And you've got Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, who you don't really know what's going to happen. So I think that's a real interesting division and could be flipped on its head next year. That's a bold one, but that's why I'm liking the Lions and the Bears.
You've got to look at the Bears. Are you sold on? You seem to be very high on Justin Fields, then, Bish. I'm not.
For me, it's scheme and what they do to him. Like Tua, what they've done with Tua is his arms not the best, but they've put weapons around him, and I think they've basically copied Kyle Shanahan and brought his game plan, and they give them the ball early and just let him run. The Bears have obviously gone all in on Fields because they're using draft picks on wide receivers. So I think, and what we've seen from him in the last 3 weeks, he's probably carrying too much.
Wow.
As his injuries up his shoulders. But I think it's an interesting division.
Tag, deciding vote, Justin Fields, yes or no?
no.
Shut me down.
This brilliant speech. No.
I do know what you're saying, Bish, and I understand what they're doing with him, but for me, he's a wish version of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, Ty Johnson. Sorry, Tag.
We've just seen Ty Johnson go in there for the Jets, and we were praying that it was Michael Carter, but it's not.
Yeah, but back to that division, I do, like you said, I do like what the Lions are doing. I know they're gonna obviously not do much this season now, but they are. That Dan Campbell is slowly turning them, and they've got some real weapons, the Lions, and obviously they've got Aiden Hutchinson, who's going to be their main go forward defensively for a lot of years. I think we was on about it the other day, Bish, but you are right. I think the Jared Goff is obviously, not a top 10, top 15 QB. I think if Lions get an early pick again and get one of these, a Bryce Young or a Stroud or something like that in this year's draft, you could see a real improvement from Lions.
Yeah, we love the coach. Obviously,
yeah, we do.
We've seen a bit of him on Hard Knocks and just some of the things he comes out with, and just the toughness I think there as well that he breeds into him. Yeah, so I'm hoping they do well.
Right, boys. I think I'm going to have to bounce now. It's been an absolute pleasure to join you for a good stint on the Red Zone. I love what you're both doing, and we might have to do something about my trebles because it's a big fat 0 and 2.
Oh, it's great to have you, Tag. Great to have you on, and hopefully we'll get you in here, sat by side of us as well in the future. But all the best, mate. Have a good season, and hopefully those Broncos can turn it around for you.
That's the one good thing about the Red Zone is that I'm not having to watch the full Broncos game and be put through the pain. I just have to see snippets of how rubbish we are at the minute.
Brilliant.
All right,
Take
cheers,
care,
boys.
Take care. Thank you, Scott, for coming on.
Lads.